This is the first ever all hands-on meeting. TFG Supplies, Tyler Douthit, doing this today. One, first work day of the year. Two, the first day of Josh, the new employee. Say hi, Josh.
Hi.
And he's behind the camera right now. And I just wanted to go over some things because I kind of have a vision for 2018 and to get kind of on the record with anything you guys might have for questions or for myself, as this is continued new charted territory for me with multiple employees going on. So the breakdown of how I'll start a little bit with kind of how things have been progressing, and then what I am pushing for 2018. Because 2015 is pretty much a side hustle. 2016 is when it went self-employed, so pretty much turned from a side hustle into a job. 2017 really turned from a job to a business when I brought Ben on middle of last year. And then 2018 now, with you coming on, Josh, I want to turn 2018 into the year that it becomes a brand. And I started a little bit towards the end of last year, but that is my really ultimate goal in 2018, is to really solidify this as a brand, that if a school needs earbuds, headphones with mics, any kind of color, anything like that, that they can find the products they want, and then they know that if it's something in that realm of things, then they know where to go. And that's a big part of the 2018, but also the push is for other markets, because there's been some orders with hospitals, some with libraries. The biggest order on record was from a library in Florida right before the hurricane, oddly enough. And so using a lot of Facebook ads, I'm using a lot of my time to target Facebook ads just right to further grow that in those markets, because those are so ripe and untouched. I think sales could just go right out the roof again this year by pushing into those markets and continuing to push into all the schools and everything like that. So that's kind of the idea of it. One thing that came up towards the end of last year, this is not new to anybody that views or listens to my content. You don't know this, Josh, but towards the end of last year, did talk to a local business place that specializes in buying and selling businesses, because I kind of on a whim wanted to get a feel for what the business was worth, if I wanted to sell it, what might be able to fetch for it. And it would have been a lot. It would have been easily enough for Karen and myself and the kids of the rest of our lives in comfort. Decided not to go down that route because I wouldn't know what to do with myself, and two, I really just enjoy the building so much and the thrill of the kill and getting business stuff going. And that's why it kind of led to some other things with that, because then what do we do? Because now I got two people who permeate out to other people. Josh is not engaged yet, although I think she's kind of waiting on her ring. And Ben's got a wife and a son. So and I got my wife and kids. So a lot of mouths kind of tied to decisions that I would make in that field. And I don't want everybody to go all in and then a week later, oh, you decided to sell the business. So that's nothing that I have any inclination to do, at least for the foreseeable years coming up, because I feel there's so much to be gained. One, a bigger upside monetarily, but two, and more importantly, to get to build something of worth, of legacy that can really have some kind of impact on people. And that's a lot of what's going on with that. And certain things, this is all new ground for me. I never really, prior to May last year when Ben started, never pictured myself as really an employer. So I've kind of had to just adapt and learn along the way. And honestly, I think that's probably the biggest trait of entrepreneurs, is not so much knowing everything, but being willing to figure stuff out when the time comes. And you make mistakes, you learn. I made lots of mistakes, and then sometimes I'll do one thing and then a week later realize it's the wrong idea, and then change it a whole different way. Been using that a couple times, tried different kind of packaging, it was a bad idea, so I had to go a different way, which is kind of part of the process. So I don't know a whole lot about managing lots of people, and I'll be honest with that. So I'm just kind of going with the flow as best I can. I want both of you two to be able to grow with the business as things go higher and get more revenue, more sales coming through. I want you guys to be able to grow with it. Ben had asked one time before, which I didn't even know this is how some businesses operate, where he was wondering if I might have brought you on, Josh, to see which one of you is better at the job and then fire the one that's least competent, which to me sounds like a stupid idea, not to ask if that's a question, but that some place would actually do that. But turns out that's what people do. So that's not my intention at all. I want you guys to grow. And the thing that Ben has been here longer, knows more obviously, and I'm not one that particularly values seniority on its own. I much more value what someone can contribute. In my mind, I value everything on how hard they are to replace, because that's what makes my life really easy or really hard. If I can walk out the door and stuff runs smoothly, that makes someone valuable. If I have to walk out the door and things almost come to a halt, that makes someone less valuable. That's just reality. So I don't know exactly where the future of both of your roles are. I'm trying to get a feel for what you guys are good at, what you're not as good at, and try to tailor things as best as possible to play to your strengths, put you in a position to succeed and really excel. And I think it's been going really well in that direction. Ben, you've taken a lot of the day-to-day stuff on, and that's really been extremely helpful for when we travel or I got other stuff to do, to be able to run when I'm not here. Obviously, that's a big thing. And I want you, Josh, lots to learn. Only your first day, but to get a feel for a lot of that stuff too. And over time, I just want it to be stated clearly as best I can on the record for video and audio to live on forever, that is primarily how I base someone's pay and raises and things like that on. It's not seniority, it's how much you're able to contribute, and more importantly, how easy someone is to replace. I heard when I was a kid, someone said, if you can't put your job description down on paper, then you're probably pretty valuable, because you can't really describe what it is you do. If I would think, well, if they walked away, what do I do then? That's gonna be really hard. Obviously, that makes someone hard to replace, gives that person leverage, because if they walk out the door and I think, oh, it's gonna be horrible, then obviously that makes that person worth more versus someone that is easier to cross that bridge with. So just you guys know that's really how I value, really how I will gauge pay and raises in the future, of course. And as the business grows and thrives, I want you guys' responsibilities and pay and benefits to grow along with it. And that's only fair, because I can't do everything by myself, obviously. So I know that I have to rely on people to help out and pitch in and contribute in new and insightful ways. But that's kind of the vision for 2018. Grow into a brand, push in to libraries, push in to hospitals, get really good at, I'm already pretty good, but even better at targeting Facebook ads, be able to really pinpoint and get those new customers in there. And that's kind of that's the vision I have for 2018, kind of my spiel as HR as well as owner as far as employee stuff. So that being said, your first day, Josh, you've been here a little bit longer, Ben. You guys have any questions about anything or thoughts, comments? Putting you on the spot with the camera. Looking at each other. Nope.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that concludes the first ever all hands meeting, and look for more to come, I think. I'm a big believer. I don't think it really accomplishes much to have a meeting for the sake of having a meeting, because it just wastes time. But once in a while, not a bad idea, and especially for some quality content that I could put on the record for you guys as well as everyone else in the world to know about. That's it for now.